Hey everybody, we're going to go ahead and make our wheel rim, which is going to help us see how the draft feature works. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. So here it is. It's in the part design using Part Studios. This is actually the sixth exercise of the lesson. And this is what we're going to make when it's all said and done. Okay, so our first step is they want us to go ahead and start a new document with a sketch on the front plane. I'm going to go ahead and create a document, and I'm going to call it wheel rim. And one of the things I noticed people have not been doing is checking their units. Okay, so we've got millimeters and grams. That's good. Is kind of important. Can cause all kinds of problems if you don't do that. Okay, we are beginning a sketch on the front plane. So I'm going to right click on the front plane, click on new sketch, and then I'm going to right click on the front plane again and hide all the planes. I'm going to hit the N key so I can get a normal view, and let's see what they want us to do. So first of all, looks like we've got a construction line going straight up off of the origin with a number of circles and kind of a V shape here. So I'm going to go ahead and create that, and I'm going to move the instructions to my second monitor so I can focus on what I'm doing down here. I'm going to start off with that construction line. I'm going to hit L for line and Q for construction. There we go. And I'm going to hover over the origin, click, and go straight up for a while till I get to about the top. And then I'm going to hit escape. Okay, then it looks like there's 4 circles that I have to make. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the center circle tool. I'll make one in the middle, one about twice as big, one a little, oh, come on. Oh, I missed. Sometimes there's some lag in this thing, and it gets you. But, you know, it's the way it goes. So click, come out a little bit bigger, and then one more starting at the origin out there. Okay, now the V's that we're supposed to make are connected to this circle here, and they start at the origin. So I'm going to hit L for the L tool, for the line tool, start at the origin, come out here, and make sure that I've got the second circle highlighted so it makes a concentric constraint there. And then I'm going to hit L again, start another line, do about the same thing, and then hit escape. Now in the instructions it says that the 2 lines are symmetric about the construction line. Okay, so here's the symmetric constraint. Now to use this, you pick the line. See, if you hover over it, it tells you what to do. It says pre-select a line or linear edge and 2 other geometries of the same type. Click the symmetric constraint tool. Now, you don't have to pre-select it. I mean, you could, but if you turn on that tool and then just select everything, kind of does that anyway. So there you go. And that just ensures that those 2 lines will have basically the same angle from the center line. Okay, so now what are we supposed to do? If we bring the instructions back down, we've got dimensions. So there's all the circles will get dimensions, and the angle between those 2 lines are also going to get a dimension. So let's go ahead and get the dimension tool by clicking D. And let's start with the circles. So this one here is 150. Oh wow, that's going to really blow this thing up. Actually, I'm not going to do that one first, because if you're way off on your dimensions and you start, let's say I started from the center, I made that 150, and this one's like already less than 150, it's going to get confusing really fast. So I'm going to work my way from the outside in, and I'm going to hit D, and this one is actually supposed to be 500. So what should happen is when I click this and make it 500, it should kind of, yeah, there we go. It kind of blows the whole thing up and makes it a bigger size. So I just had to zoom out. Whoops, clicked the wrong thing. There we go. And get it back on track. There we go. Okay, so the other thing that I'm noticing is that when I made this construction line, it's actually supposed to be coincident with the outside edge of here. So I'm going to add a coincident constraint. I'm going to go to coincident constraint, click that dot, and click there. That's more like it. It's also going to allow me that when I do my normal view, it'll be a little more centered. Okay, so I've got my one gigantic. Actually, let's drag this in a little closer. There we go. We didn't need to have it way the heck out in outer space there. And then let's work our way in with the rest of the dimensions. So I'm going to click the D key. This one's supposed to be 475. This one is supposed to be 400. There we go. And this inner one is supposed to be 150. All right, now these two get an angle dimension. If you want to get an angle dimension, you just click the two lines. Obviously, they're at an angle, so it's not going to try to put a space between them. It automatically knows to make it into an angle dimension because the lines are at an angle to each other. And then I'm going to type in 30. And there we go. So that is my fully constrained sketch. And let's bring the instructions back in and see what is next. Okay, so we're supposed to call this main sketch and accept it. I can do that. And click over here on the pencil to rename it main sketch and then accept it. All right, what is next? Okay, it looks like we're going to do an extrude on the outer two segments, symmetric to a depth of 150. Okay, so let's go here. We'll select. I'm going to do it at an isometric view because I just don't like doing extrudes when it's not isometric. I'm going to hit extrude, new. It's supposed to be symmetric in 150, and it's the two outer edges, or there we go, something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to accept that. Okay, next, rename part 1 in the parts list. Right click on part 1 and select rename. Name it wheel rim. Okay, we can do that. I'm going to right click here and rename it wheel rim. All right, cool. Okay, so what's next? What's next is we're going to do another extrude, solid symmetric, depth of 200, but we are going to add a draft. This is that new feature, a 5-degree draft. And we got to make sure that the draft is going in the right direction. Okay, cool. Okay, and it says also make sure you include the little triangle on the inside. Okay, we can handle that. So we need to get our sketch back, so I'm going to unhide that sketch. And we're going to do an extrude that is symmetric, that is 200, and let's see. Now I'm gonna click on these parts, and I'm going to show you what happens when we do the draft. So this is your normal extrude, and it makes a cylinder. So when I do the draft and select 5 degrees, you could see that it creates an angle, but you notice how it's making almost kind of a weird, very subtle yo-yo shape. That's not what we want. We want it to be tapered inward. So I'm going to click here. There we go, and then we get that inward taper that we were looking for. Okay, the profile is getting smaller as you go out, not bigger as you go out. Okay, so it looks like that is good. Let's double check and make sure it looks like it's supposed to. Cool, and then accept the feature. All right, there we go. And you can see that it's got that nice tapered shape. Okay, the draft is a very useful tool here. Okay, so what are we supposed to do next? We're supposed to create the spoke. Select an extrude feature, choose solid with the blind end type at a depth of 25 millimeter. Okay, select the triangle profile from the main sketch to extrude, including the wedge inside the hub. Be sure the extrude direction is toward the front of the part. Okay, to add this feature to the wheel rim and part 2, select the Add option and choose both the wheel rim and part 2 in the merge scope. Okay, a lot of stuff going on here. I'm actually going to bring that to my second monitor so I can see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to do an extrude feature, and we need, boy, that is hard to select. Oh, it doesn't want to. Okay, there it is. And there it is. Okay, and I don't know why we have to add the small one, but you know, that's what they told us to do. So this one is going to be an add instead of new. Okay, it is blind, it's 25. Now the merge scope is the things you want to merge this thing to, and we want to merge it with the wheel rim and that part 2. And what that's going to do is turn all of this into a single feature. So let's go ahead and do that. So I feel like there's more to do because I don't remember it ending this soon. So I'm going to go to the next page of instructions. There we go. I knew it. I knew it. Oh wait, no, we're going to add a draft feature. Never mind. So we're not going to do the draft as part of the extrude this time. Okay, I can live with that. So let's go ahead and accept this extrude that we did. Okay, and you can see it kind of added a spoke, but only to one side. Okay, cool. Now we're going to add the draft feature. So it says, to create a drafted spoke, select the draft feature. Choose the top face of the spoke as the neutral plane and the side faces as the entities to draft. Input 15 degrees as the draft angle. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And I think the reason we're doing this is because we want it to, we want to keep this angle here on the front face at 30 degrees. Okay, and so we're drafting backwards, and that's the easiest way to do that here. So let's select the draft feature. Where is it? I think it might be under here. Nope. Where is that draft? Oh, there it is, the draft feature. Okay, the neutral plane is that front face. The entities to draft are I think the edges. Okay, let's see. The entities to draft are the face. Oh, the side faces. Okay, I'm sorry. So the side face. Wait. It didn't stick. There we go. The side face and the other side face. So the faces to draft. This is supposed to be 15 degrees. And make sure it's going in the right direction. Yeah, it's supposed to look a little like a wedge there. And then we can go ahead and it looks like we can accept that. And there it is. We've created this kind of cool wedge shape there. All right, next we're going to mirror that feature so now we can have it be symmetric. Okay, because we really did only make half the spoke. Okay, so we're going to use the mirror feature, do a feature mirror, but remember that's the one that throws everybody off if you don't remember to do it. And then we'll select the extrude and the draft that we just did. And we'll choose the back face of the spoke as the mirror plane. Okay, great. So I'm going to get back to my isometric view, even though I'm going to have to adjust it. Just everything was getting topsy-turvy. Okay, so where's our mirror feature? Okay, and we're going to do a feature mirror. The features to mirror would be the extrude and the draft. The mirror plane, if I click there, is the back face. And there we go. So we can accept that. Okay, and you see we've made this kind of complex shape for one of our spokes. Very cool. Okay, now we're going to fillet the edges. So we're going to add the fillet, a 2mm fillet to the front and back faces of the spoke. Okay, so let's do that. So the fillet feature, set it at 2mm. I do like to set the value before I start clicking on things because sometimes it could cause problems if you don't. So we're going to do all these edges. There's one. There's one. There's one, and there's one. Got all the cool fillets going on. All right, looking sophisticated. Okay, so now now that we've created one of the spokes, we're gonna create a circular pattern and create the rest of the spokes. So I'm gonna go back to my isometric view to get it lined up a little better. So let's click on the circular feature, the circular pattern, and we are going to actually do a feature pattern. So the features to pattern would be all the things that we just did. Let's just double check. It's extrude 3 through the fillets. Okay, so extrude 3, the draft, the mirror, the fillets. Okay, now the axis of pattern is anything that indicates the circle. And if you don't have an axis running through the middle, it's okay because you can select a circle that is perpendicular to that axis, and that will act as the same thing. And you see when I click on that, you get 4 of them, but we want 5 of them. And there we go. There's our 5 spokes. Alrighty. And let's go back to our isometric view. Kind of looking like a wheel rim now. Okay, so next we're going to make a sketch on that front plane, and then we're going to start and we're going to sketch these circles. So let's go ahead and make a new sketch on that plane. I'm going to hit N to make it normal, and then I'm going to make a construction circle. So I'm going to click the center point circle and the construction line tool, go to the origin, come out a bit, and then I'm going to get rid of the construction line and make a smaller circle on the inside. You know, I'm also going to hide that main sketch because it is kind of cluttering things up. Okay, now I'm supposed to make a construction line that goes from the center and goes straight up to the outer construction circle. Okay, so in order to fully dimension that, we need to put some dimensions on. This one's going to be 35 and this one's going to be 90. So I'm going to go ahead and hit D for dimension. I'm going to do the outer one, which is 90, and the inner one, which is 35. And there we go, it's fully dimensioned. So let's bring the instructions back into our window. We're supposed to name it bolt circle and then accept it. So let's rename it bolt circle and then accept it. All right, next we are going to do a remove extrude on that center circle. Goes through all. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to do a remove extrude, and it's supposed to be through all, and it's that center circle. There we go. So let's accept that. Next, we're going to add a hole at the point that is the. All right, so we're going to add all these holes, and let's. I'm gonna bring this to my second monitor because there's a lot of information on there. Okay, so let's get that bolt circle sketch back on. I unhid that. And let's zoom in a little bit on it, and I'm going to pan it over so it's nice and big and easy to see. And let's get the hole tool. So there's the hole tool, and we're supposed to put this hole right at that intersection, that point right there. So I'm going to click there, and it's supposed to be a counter bore. It's supposed to be through ISO clear. Oh, if you notice, it's already all the right things. That's because I already made this part once before I made this video. So you will probably have to change every single one of these things or most of these things to match. Okay, so it will not be pre-done for you like this, but this is just what happens when you do things twice. Okay, so let me make sure that everything looks good, and I'm going to go ahead and accept that hole. Now, what is next? Next is we're going to pattern that hole so we have 5 of them. So let's go and get our circular pattern tool. We're going to do a feature pattern, and it's going to be the hole. The axis of the pattern is going to be the circle, and we're going to change it to 5 instances. And there you go. You notice that the holes line up really nice with the spokes. That's pretty cool. And then we can go ahead and accept that. All right, now we're going to do some other stuff. What are we going to do here? So we're going to remove geometry for the rim to fit a tire. So we're going to do a remove extrude, and this is kind of a complicated one. So I'm going to bring the instructions to my second monitor, and let's walk through those. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and actually I'm going to go to my isometric view and get a nice standard view here. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to unhide the main sketch, because this is all based off the main sketch. And so let's start with the extrude feature. It's a remove extrude. It's we're going to do up to face, and I need to select that part of the sketch that is that outermost profile. But the problem is the part's in the way. So I'm gonna hide the wheel rim for a second, just so I can select that. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring the rim back. Okay, and it says we're supposed to go up to face. So I'm gonna click on that and select this face. Okay, if you notice, it brings it all the way out, but that's not really what we want. We want to stop short, and so there's an offset distance that we're gonna add in, and that offset distance is 20 millimeters. Okay, and you notice that, so that way we can define how far we want to go based on the face that we're going up to. Okay, now we're going to also do something that's different. Is we're going to have a second end position. Okay, which means we're going to go in the other direction, up to face, and I'm going to select the other face for that. And we're also going to do the offset distance of 20 millimeters. Okay, so we've done the same. We've extruded in both directions and created that nice place for the tire to sit. Okay, let me just double check everything, make sure it all looks right. Good. Okay, I'm going to accept that. All right, we're getting closer to something that actually looks like a rim, don't we? Aren't we? Okay, so what's next? Okay, we're supposed to do chamfers on all the long edges. Okay, so there's lots of edges we're supposed to get. We're supposed to do these chamfers on the inside, the outside, the edge of the rim, and then the inside of the rim. So we've got to come back. We're basically breaking these edges, all these edges. That edge, that edge, that edge, and that inner edge as well. So let's get the chamfer tool, set it to 8 millimeters, and then just start clicking on the edges. So we want to get that edge, that edge, that edge, it's kind of hard to see sometimes, and that edge. Okay. Now we also have to repeat that for the other side. So we're going to get 8 edges in total. Like I said, it can get really, once you start highlighting things, it can get hard to see what you're doing, but you just have to live with it. All right, so there, now we've created all these cool profiles that you can see from the chamfers. And once again, it's looking more and more like an actual rim, something that you might actually buy at the tire store. Okay, so we got that. And now we're going to actually do fillets. And the fillets are for those inside edges where the tire goes. And that makes perfect sense to me because you can't really have sharp features on something that's going to hold a tire, right? So 5mm radius fillets. Okay, so let's get the fillet tool. It's already defaulting at 5. I'm going to zoom way in on there because that's the edge we're filleting. Okay, we're trying to create a nice, smooth transition there. There, you see that? See, that's something a tire can sit up next to and you don't have to worry about it tearing the tire. So now we've got that fillet. And we're going to make it aluminum, which is pretty standard. A lot of rims are made out of aluminum. So let's go ahead, right-click on wheel, rim, assign materials, and it is aluminum 1060. There we go. And last but not least, we're going to get the mass of this thing. So click the mass properties, click the rim, and it's in grams. I have a feeling they're going to want to do it in kilograms. If you want to convert an easy, quick conversion, move the decimal 3 to the left. It's going to be 36.361 kilograms. This is heavy, a really heavy rim. So I almost feel like in the real world, parts of that would probably be maybe hollow. I don't know. It just seems like that's a very heavy. That's somewhere in the order of 80 pounds, which seems like a lot to me. But, you know, it's all good. All right, so 36.361 kilograms. We go back to the instructions. There it is. Now, you notice it's not exactly the same. So I'm going to click that. And it says it's correct. It's hard to say why it's not exactly the same. I could have done something slightly wrong. Hard to know. Hard to know. Well, but it told me that my answer was correct, so I guess we're going to live with that. All right, so there we go. And there is your wheel. Nice long video because it's a nice long project.